Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1996's Christmas classic, Jingle All The Way. Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_Idol. As always, if you want to follow the show, you could follow us at Kiss the Reviews on both Twitter and Instagram. All right, let's dive right into this one.
Why not?
It's been a minute since I've seen this, but it's almost been like an every other year, just because I randomly come across it.
Sure.
And it's so ridiculous that I have to watch it because it makes me laugh, and not for the reasons that the writers wrote it. So
Fair enough.
Let's get into the cast of this. Jingle All The Way stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as Howard Langston, Sinbad as Myron Larabee, Phil Hartman as Ted, Rita Wilson as Liz Langston, and Jake Lloyd as Jamie Langston. I've had this thought in my head since the first time I saw this movie. And the thought is, because I know Arnold is Arnold. He's big dude, big movie star, whatever.
Yep.
But in my brain, I saw him auditioning for this piece in this movie. And they were like, listen, we're going to say the words Turbo Man are in this script 573 times. As long as you could deliver, hey, Turbo Man, you got the part. All right, go. And he goes, Turbo Man. And they're like, fucking beautiful, you got it, you sealed it. This motherfucker does not say Turbo Man once.
Turbo guy. I got the Turbo Man doll. One of those Turbo Mans. It's Turbo Man.
You couldn't get a word, a something man that he could pronounce. It was just, the whole thing was just fucking ridiculous.
I'm curious to know what you think the word he can pronounce is. Because I really have never heard him properly pronounce a word. Ever.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
He ran for governor of California and can't say that word.
That's fair.
And that's not me back. Like, look, dude, you and I have talked about it a number of times. I think he is an amazing person and kind of a great symbol of what you can achieve if you work your fucking ass off.
Yes.
However, that dude's mouth is a fucking train wreck.
So this movie opens with Arnold's son Jamie watching a Power Rangers-esque Turbo Man television show. Jamie is earning a purple belt in karate that day, and his dad is late because he works so hard at the mattress company that he works at. And Arnold leaves his job and runs into a traffic jam, which makes him late for the karate tournament thing. Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, dads. Uncle Corey here. Have some perspective on what your career is when you're determining the importance of things. You're a mattress salesman. You're not Carl Eichner. You're not running Disney. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You do not have an important job.
Yeah.
Your job is to sell mattresses. So when your secretary comes in and is like, hey, man, I told you a half an hour ago you needed to leave and you're still here. You need to go. Just be like, you know what? You're right. Over the Christmas holiday, Mr. Pompononis doesn't need a new mattress. He can wait. Or I don't know. He can just come down to the store and get the goddamn mattress like everyone else does. What is his job exactly?
That I don't know, and I have a don't do that just to tag your PSA. Don't do that, it's not good for you. Hi, clients. Listen, you own a company, you're the general manager of a company, whatever. It's Christmas Eve, okay? Stop emailing and calling your reps at whatever the mattress company or the blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a fuck about you or your mattress or your goddamn company. Keep your shit to yourself. Stop being that person. Don't do that. None of it. I will have none of that.
No. Work harder in November. Look, everybody knows that has a real job that no work gets done in December anyway, because most of the time you're wrapping up year-end shit. Maybe not your fiscal year, but it's still year-end shit. You have to wrap up. December's a busy month that does not involve new business. Fuck off.
And mattresses. Fuck out my face.
Get your Tempur-Pedic ass out of here.
So during this traffic jam, he gets pulled over by Officer Hummel, who forces him to do a sobriety test after catching him speeding on the shoulder, and he ends up missing said karate class and doesn't see his son get his purple belt. And to make it up to Jamie when he gets home, he promises to get him anything he wants for Christmas. And Jamie wants the Turbo Man doll.
He bribes his son.
Yes. Yes.
And is it like their whole relationship? They keep talking about like through this movie, like, oh, he's the most important thing in my life. But is he? Because you're just trying to buy him. You're not actually doing what he wants, which is, stop selling mattresses for 20 minutes and come to my fucking karate thing.
Yes.
That's all you have to do.
Absolutely.
That's literally the easiest thing you can do. And you're like, nah, I'm going to make it impossible promise to buy him a toy because I've apparently never experienced Christmas in America. The most popular toy in America, and it's Christmas Eve, and I promise I'll go get it.
Well, here's the thing. Because I got two issues with this. Because he does it, because he sits down with his son, and he has like this heart-to-heart.
Mm-hmm.
After he's like, oh, is this your karate belt? Does it go up here like this? I go, hiya, Jamie, hiya. After trying to like go this like, I'm the silly goofy dad, and it doesn't work. And his son's like, first of all, bitch, you ain't funny. Second of all, stop it. Like I know I'm 7 and I know what you're doing. So push your shit off on somebody else because I ain't buying what you're selling. And then he's like, oh, he goes to his wife. And he's like, oh, we had such a good talk, and me and my son. And she's like, yeah, cool story, bro. Did you get the fucking Turbo Man doll 2-3 weeks ago like I fucking asked you to? And he's like, yeah, totally, I did. Dude, listen, I'm not saying do as you're told, but just when it comes to Christmas shit, especially for kids, do as you're fucking told.
You were right.
I'm sorry. Nicolas Cage in Family Man had an easier time adjusting to a completely different reality in one day than this dude has realizing that he has a wife and a fucking son of at least, 10 years?
I would assume so.
Fucking ridiculous. He is one of the worst. He's as bad of a father as LeBron James was in fucking Space Jam.
But Howard here then leaves the house. It's Christmas Eve. He goes on this trek to find a Turbo Man doll. He also runs into his neighbor Ted, who is a teetotal prick. This dude exists in every neighborhood. Fresh off a divorce, he was like, I just want to get some strange, and I don't want to get married again. I'm going to smash all these fucking wives in all these houses. That dude exists, and when he looks and acts like Phil Hartman does in here, avoid that son of a bitch at all costs. Phil Hartman does such a good job with this character. Oh. He's fucking brilliant in this.
Yes, he is. And it's fantastic. He's fantastic. And that guy is he's such a repugnant piece of shit. But at the same time, I'm like, I can see myself doing that.
Yeah, look to your left and look to your right. If you don't see that guy, you're that guy.
Yeah. If I could quote the classic Too Short line, if you get me real mad, I'll probably fuck your wife.
Howard here then gets to the first toy store. He meets Myron, this postal worker whose son wants a Turbo Man 2. they're laughed out of the store by literally everyone. The employees, the people shopping, and the fight between Myron and Howard begins here as they both go through the entire area to find said Tuberman doll. So,
Yes.
And then it's montage time. We go through all the montage of them going to Howard going to the stores and yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I like about this movie. If there's a couple of bright spots, it's here's Arnold doing his Arnold things, and here's Sinbad doing his Sinbad thing. By the way, shout out to Sinbad. I love Sinbad. But they're both doing their like fighty things, and cut to little clips of Ted trying to grope and smash Arnold's wife.
Oh, yeah.
The first one is while their boys are playing, and then Howard calls and Ted answers the phone. This is a perfect glimpse into who Ted is, because he's like, hey, he's like so overly nice. And then as soon as Liz walks out of the room, he starts yelling at the kids.
Pipe down in there!
Right.
Like, that's who this fucking guy is. And again, not a PSA. Don't trust that overly nice douche.
Hell yes.
If somebody is overly nice to you, my guess is they're plotting something quite nefarious against you.
Yes, there's always a motive.
Yeah. I don't like people that are too nice to me. Like, I'm way too easy to make fun of. You should have been cutting me down long ago.
Exactly.
What's your angle here, Chief?
Don't worry. Ted's here.
Whoever wrote this, my question for them would be, why did you feel like you had to make Ted the guy that also yells at the kid? You could have still made Ted really like a super good dad. He's still a piece of shit. It's obvious he's the bad guy, even though to me, Arnold's also a piece of shit.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, this kid. The only time I like Arnold or Ted in this movie is when they're yelling at the kids, because the kids are running roughshod over the adults this entire movie. You are letting the inmates run the asylum, and I am not having it.
So Myron and Howard then hear about this Turbo Man doll at a store, and as Howard tries to pull out, he hits Officer Hummel's motorcycle, and he's held up by Officer Hummel, I guess yelling at him, giving him another ticket. Like, at what point does Officer Hummel just arrest Arnold? Like, you're a menace to this city, because you're constantly either like speeding and running on the shoulder, you're running over my motorcycle, you're dumping hot chocolate on me, or coffee or whatever. Like, by the end of this, he looks like Officer Hummel looks like Marv and Harry from Home Alone.
Here's a fun fact, actually, before we go too much further. I saw in the Amazon X-ray thing that pops up, does like behind the scenes and who the actors are and all that shit. The original script had Sinbad as the lead character, but it was only like 30 pages long, because the second Howard drives on the shoulder, the cop Hummel shoots him. So, the movie's over. No Turbo Man.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate the insight. Thanks, Amazon.
Yeah. I don't know how that Bezos guy does it, man.
So they get to this store, and there's a drawing to get a Tuberman doll, and the customers attack, and there's a mad scramble for the balls, and hilarity ensues as Arnold basically chases this child through the entire mall. Physics ceases to exist as this ball bounces through the entire mall. And then it ends with Arnold getting beaten up by a bunch of women swinging purses.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, people chasing things that they've lost through a mall. Uncle Corey here. Let's just say this. If you've lost something and you are actively trying to run it down, and a small child of some sort has grabbed it, stop pursuing immediately, because you're going to go to fucking jail. And in jail, they don't do nice things to pedophiles. It gets very ugly for them.
Yes.
So just leave it alone. It's a lottery ball. Move on.
Yes.
Here's the one thing I'll say. I'll put it like this. Jamie may think he really wants a turbo doll, but what he really wants is for his dad not to get ass raped in prison.
After getting skunked again, he runs into a mall Santa and his elf, who say that they have a Turboman doll. Howard drives them to some warehouse where they're running this counterfeit toy-making operation, and he pays $300 for this Spanish-speaking Turboman. Howard gets pissed. Then a brawl begins between all of the Santas, elves, and Howard, and the police then burst through the door and bust this whole ring, and Howard manages to get out of this whole situation by posing as an undercover cop using a toy badge. It's a funny scene.
Mhm.
Belushi's great in this. I like the little, like, I'm a ninja Santa thing, like, and then you get the fucking wrestler or whatever the hell his name is who shows up. The whole scene is actually really funny.
Mhm.
But if you're a cop and a guy goes, I'm special force agent, you're going to be like, I'm calling fucking bullshit. The badge could be real. I'm calling bullshit on the accent and everything. What? I don't know what the fuck this is. Are you like from Interpol? Like, where are you from? I'm questioning everything as soon as Arnold opens his mouth.
Well, the thing you don't realize that happened was the police officer that talks to Arnold originally used to be on a task force in Florida until a nuclear bomb went off in the Keys. And he met a guy named Harry Tasca. And that's how he knew a lot of cops speak like that. High-level guys, that's how they talk.
Thanks,
So
Amazon.
he transferred. Exactly. He transferred. And there you go. Good to go.
All right. I'm glad he transferred to fucking Minneapolis or wherever the hell.
Yep. He needed a break after nukes and terrorism and shit.
I get it. I get it. Well, you know what? That's explained. Mystery solved.
You're welcome, America.
So after running out of gas, Howard pushes his car and gets to Mickey's Diner, uses their payphone to call home. Jamie answers, and Howard yells at Jamie, and Jamie yells back about him never keeping his promises, and Jamie hangs up on him.
This is where I applaud Arnold 100%. Because it's like this. Listen to the tone of my voice when I'm on the phone. I've never been short with you a day in your little life. Put your mom on the phone right now. That means there's a fucking emergency. Quit with your fucking promises and but you need to do the parade because it's a parade and parades and you're never, fuck you. You're not looking at me when you're at a parade. You're looking at the fucking things.
Always keep your promises if you want to keep your friends.
This whole, and it happens in all these holiday films. The parade's a thing and the party's a thing. And if you don't make a thing, it's not a thing.
You were right.
Well, in fairness to Jamie, because I really didn't realize this until now, you have to look at who his two male role models really are. You have his dad, who's a workaholic and is about 5 minutes away from being a cuck. And you have Ted, who's a fucking simp in and of himself. Just like, I'm going to assimilate myself as the husband here in the hopes that I will get some sort of sexual favor in return. That is the fucking definition of a simp.
Hell yes.
That's true. That's a very valid point. Very valid point. I can't be upset with Jamie now. God damn it.
Yep. I know, and I really disliked him too.
You ruined the rest of this review for me. So Howard then, at this diner, runs into Myron. They try to patch things up by sharing their sob stories about when they were kids, and their conversation is interrupted when they hear on the radio that whoever can name all 8 of Santa's reindeer wins this Turboman. So after breaking the payphone, they run down the street to the radio station, break into the studio, and Arnold gives the correct answer. And Myron comes in behind him, threatens everybody with a package from his mailbag, which he says is a bomb, and it turns out to be fake. And then they both here find out that the prize is just a gift certificate for a Turboman. FYI, you and I both worked in radio in the past, in our past lives. This is not how radio giveaways go.
No.
And if it's a certificate, like a gift certificate, they will tell you on this promo. This motherfucker was like, come on.
Be murdered.
Exactly. Exactly. There's this thing, you could be held liable, you could be sued, you could be there's so many things, and the amount of paperwork, like if they did, even if it was just a gift certificate, the amount of paperwork you got to fill out for winning a radio station contest is fucking ridiculous.
Thank you!
Like, you're a major radio station in this town. I'm pretty sure you would have gotten a doll as a promotional thing. If not multiple dolls as a promotional thing.
Yes.
Like, just being like, well, it's a certificate because, we're fucking QAM in Marysville, Ohio. Wherever that is.
So the police then show up here along with Officer Hummel because the DJ called 911. Myron bluffs them into backing off by pulling out another package and claiming that's a bomb too. Myron and Howard get away while Officer Hummel inspects said package, and he says it's harmless, but it explodes in his face when he tries to open it.
They go very Home Alone with this.
Yes.
Like, and it's fine. I get it. But, like, when did that become a Christmas staple?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that takes it way out of it for me. Like, all of a sudden, and I'm not one of these guys. It's like, oh, violence on the Lord's birthday. But I'm just very, like, that's not Christmas. Well, exploding packages and bad guys and just, like, let's fall down holes and trip on beads and just be randomly fucking momos for a day because we're jazz.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with fucking Christmas.
No, this whole
I've literally never exploded in over 40 years of Christmas. It's never happened.
I've never chased after a doll on Christmas Eve. You want to know why? Because I communicate with my significant other. And when she says, hey, while you're out, can you grab a blobbity bleep? And I'm like, cool. How many blobbity bleeps do you want? It's called communication. Everybody in this movie just incessantly lies to each other. Like that's how they get through life.
Yes.
And then there's a lesson that nobody learns at the end.
No.
Because they still continue to just lie to each other. So Howard gets back to the diner. He sees that his car has been stripped and spray painted by thieves and hoodlums and such. And Howard gets it towed back to his house. And then he finds Ted in his house putting the star on his tree. And oh my God, I put the star on my tree. So he decides he's putting the star on my tree. He told me he already bought the tuba man. So now I'm going to break into his house and I'm going to steal that fucking present.
That would have been like, I don't understand why he's running around this whole time, because the second my neighbor says, oh no, I already got one of those under my tree, safe and sound. I'm like, cool, I'm robbing you now. I'm figuring out a way to get that fucking doll. It's just a matter of getting you out of the house with your fat kid.
All you got to do is wait until he goes smashes one of the neighbor ladies.
Hell yes.
And by the way, this whole reindeer thing, because as Howard is like running through the house and stealing Tuba Man and blah, 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 he runs into the reindeer in the backyard who has a beef with Arnold for some fucking reason and like chases him through the house. Here's the don't do that.
Don't do that. It's not good for you.
Hi, fucking white people? What are you buying a reindeer for Christmas? As just like a thing. Like, I get you're setting up the Ted character as like this guy. Like, I get all that. But don't ever buy an animal for a holiday that you plan on releasing into the wild.
If nature's kind, they'll take him in like he's one of their own.
Ted, go fuck yourself. I think his last name is Bundy. It's Ted Bundy is his neighbor. He's just trying to smash and kill people. Like, that's all he's trying to do.
Yeah, dude. This is so stupid. This is one of those things where at least a reindeer represents something about Christmas. But again, this is only in here so we can see Arnold fucking jack a reindeer in the jaw.
Punch a reindeer.
Cool. You know, I've seen him punch a predator before, right? Like, this pales in comparison.
Same thing.
And I could not agree with you more, by the way. like the definition of white people shit is buying a reindeer for Christmas for everybody to take pictures of or with. That's ridiculous. The only way that could be more white people is if the house was also haunted.
And they stayed.
Yeah.
During this whole thing, Arnold's running through. He sets half the house on fire because he knocks over one of the wise men into the fireplace, and then he Ray Finkles the head out the front window, and now he's caught. And here's the other thing. Liz and Ted come into the house, and Liz is very upset with him. You're lying, and you didn't buy the Turbo Man, and you're stealing the Turbo Man, and blah, blah, blah. And Ted has the classic line here.
You can't bench press your way out of this one.
First of all, yes, I can, Ted, because I'm going to fuck you up here in about 2 seconds if you don't shut the fuck up. But two, you've been lying this whole movie. You can't lie here?
Right.
Like, I saw a fire and I came in I was in our backyard doing something. I saw the fucking smoke coming and I came running in. I kicked the thing out the fucking thing. And by the way, while you're doing it, you still got the Turbo Man doll in your hand. Drop the shit and lie your ass off. You literally pretended to be an undercover police officer. You can't lie to your neighbor and wife?
What?
I get it. It's a Christmas movie, and we're all in it for the
100%.
Christmassy of it and the message at the end and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't mean you have to give up on trying to write a decent movie.
You don't have to make all the concessions.
No, like The Family Man is a good Christmas movie.
Yes.
And I already said it's derivative as fuck. There's almost nothing original about that movie whatsoever. However, it's a good Christmas movie. Scrooged is a good Christmas movie that is literally a 100-year-old story, hundreds of year old story.
Yep.
So you don't have to try that hard, but when you are writing the script, try somewhat. That's all we're asking, because you're just throwing in tropes and cliches just to advance this movie along.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'd rather you cut 15 minutes of it and just save the bullshit.
So Liz is pissed here. She asks Ted, who's actively been trying to like sexually assault her this whole movie. She asks Ted to drive her and Jamie to this Christmas parade. Howard then decides to keep his promise and go to the parade to be with his family. Meanwhile, Ted makes a pass at Liz in the car. Liz smashes Ted in the head with a thermos of eggnog, which, again, eggnog. Can we stop with the fucking eggnog? I've had enough of the goddamn eggnog. You know how many eggnog drinks I've had in my life? This many. You know why? Because it looks disgusting.
Because you don't drink egg?
Yeah, it's gross. So
we'll start there.
That's also white people shit. Eggnog? Let's remove eggnog from all the Christmas movies.
Yeah, I don't care if it's got alcohol in it or not. Like, I'll find another way to consume alcohol. I don't need to do it with egg.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, ladies. Uncle Corey here. If there is a Ted in your life, meaning somebody that is just extraordinarily kind to you, like over the top, I am going out of my way to be kind to you, they're trying to fuck you. I'm sorry that's the world we live in. It's just the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
I treat my women friends the same way I treat my men friends. I call them assholes. I fucking joke around with them. But in no way am I overtly nice to them.
Yes.
Because I only do that to people I'm trying to fuck or fuck over.
Howard sees Ted and Liz in the car, and then he runs into Officer Hummel again, accidentally drenches him in hot chocolate because Home Alone. And
which is like the least of all of his problems so far.
Yes.
Like, this dude's hands are fucked up. He's fucking had a bomb explode in his face with almost zero repercussion. He's still on duty, which is amazing. Salute to you, sir.
Yes.
And now it's like, oh, the coup de grace. I got coffee on my hands. Ah!
Howard runs away from Officer Hummel. He escapes into this back room for the parade where he is mistaken for the actor who's going to play Turbo Man on the float. He's now on the float, dressed as Turbo Man, and he has to give away a Turbo Man doll to a kid in the crowd. And of course, he picks Jamie, and no one knows it's Howard. Even though he yells, Jamie! Jamie!
He knows my name.
He knows your name. This is some random actor on a float. He also says it with an accent that sounds very familiar and Austrian. But you're like, oh my God, how do you know my name? Then Jamie walks up on the float. He's right next to his father. And it's not like he's got like a whole full face visor. It's literally just this like almost clear hazy visor. It's obviously your dad, you dipshit. And it's like,
look at his mouth full of fucking chiclet teeth. Who else in this movie has those teeth?
Turbo guy. One of those Turbo Mans. Turbo Man. Enough of this Turbo Man, okay? I had it up to here with this Turbo Man.
The fact that this is the most unbelievable part of the movie for me is laughable, but seriously.
That's the most unbelievable part of any Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is 90% of the time, you're asking us to pretend like he sounds like everybody else in this fucking movie.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
During this whole thing, Myron shows up dressed as Turbo Man's nemesis, Dementor, and chases Jamie through the streets of Minnesota. The crowd thinks it's all part of the act. Myron chases Jamie to the top of a building and up this fake Christmas tree. And Howard then turns on the jetpack on the Turbo Man suit and saves Jamie after some hijinks, of course. I got a quick question. Just a quick question. And I know, Jamie, and it's obviously Arnold. I want to know, because this seems like a very small town in Minnesota. Lake Minnetonka's brought up at one point, like their prince. But they're in this small town in Minnesota. What is the fucking budget for this goddamn parade? I've been to small town parades. It's a fire truck, some high school, like sports people, maybe the high school band, and that's the parade. It's 20 minutes long. This Turbo Man suit has to be worth millions.
Oh yeah, this whole setup is like Macy's Day Parade style shit.
You're right. It's fact.
This is where I was just like, okay, time out. Sinbad is now about to murder a child so he can get this doll. He's actively threatening harm through the streets of small town Minnesota or whatever the fuck.
Sure.
To hunt down and murder a child for the Turbo Man doll.
Yes.
Have we not gone a little far? Like, you chased him on a roof, up a fucking tree that then collapses, and you're both dangling over whatever, like the sidewalk, which is going to kill you.
Yes.
If you fall. And you're still going, hey kid, just give me the doll. You're a fucking psycho. Like, what are we doing here?
Dude, he's a serial killer.
This has gone way beyond like the, we've all tried to get that holiday toy. No, we've never tried to murder an 8-year-old boy for a fucking doll. That's insanity.
Myron in this movie is painted as, and his character is the drunk postal worker, right? He's drinking throughout this movie.
Yep.
And I get it. Oh, I'm going to go postal. And that was a thing, especially in the 90s. Cool, fine. You want to lean into that, lean into that.
Tragedy.
You know what fucking drunk, like alcoholic postal workers don't do? Anything that takes this much fucking energy. At the worst, Myron is going to drink, beat his kid, and then as he's beating him, tell him he didn't get the Turbo Man doll, and then he's going to bed.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that's happening here. He's not chasing some rando kid through the streets of Minnesota and almost kill him. That's literally serial killer shit.
Yes. Myron in real life is buying a Turbo Man doll, spelled with an A and not a U. And everything is like, he's going to tell his kid, like, oh, you don't want it? Cool. And then he's going to smash it against a wall. Drunk on Christmas Day, just like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's buying the Turbo Man doll from Austria. That apparently that's the one that Arnold wants. He's buying that one.
And there is not a black man in this country that would ever chase an 8-year-old white kid through white-ass town, Minnesota for a fucking doll. There is no way.
You were right.
So Jamie here is sad after he gets saved by Turbo Man because his dad wasn't there to see all of the hijinks and whatever. Then Howard removes his helmet to reveal I'm your father, Jamie. And everybody's like, holy shit. And Liz, who is it? Okay, you want to fool the kid? Fine. He's fooled. He's dumb and he's 7. She's a grown-ass woman and she gets fooled up until the last minute.
Howard?
And then gets turned on because he's dressed like a Times Square worker. Like, have you ever seen those fake-ass, like, Marvel characters?
Yes.
Like Copper Man instead of Iron Man. And you get to take a picture with him for $5. That's what she's attracted to.
Howard?
Jamie then gets his doll back from Officer Hummel. Jamie then gives the Turbo Man doll to Myron, who is actively getting arrested for kidnapping and attempted murder. And he's
immediately just like, oh man, thanks, kid. I guess I got a little out of control back there.
Yeah.
You think, fuckwad?
And Howard here is then carried on the crowd's shoulders, and the movie ends. But not really, because if you wait around, if you were so enthralled by this movie that you waited through the entire credits to the very end of the credits, you get the hidden scene where Howard puts the star on the tree and Liz asks what he got for her. And then you get, oh my God, Home Alone Shocked Face by Arnold this time. This movie is pure and utter garbage. I despise this movie for impersonating a Christmas comedy.
Hell yes.
I think the only person they used even remotely correct in this was Phil Hartman.
Yes.
They wasted Rita Wilson on quick one-shots and just one line.
Absolutely.
Wasted her. They exposed Arnold. I mean, look, nobody thinks Arnold is fucking...
they exposed...
Yeah, exactly. He's not like Denzel Washington. Nobody's assuming that. However, the difference, and I keep going back to Family Man because Nick Cage is the best actor we've had thus far in our Christmas reviews.
Yes.
When Arnold is trying to give his monologue about how he keeps letting Jamie down and he just should have been there and he keeps fucking up and he doesn't know what's wrong with him and blah, 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 blah. That is such a terrible monologue and such a horrible piece of acting. That is literally a guy just saying the words that are written down and having zero connection between those words and the character he's playing. Yeah. Whereas a guy like Nick Cage could have actually made that meaningful and actually made you remember maybe that he is a good person and he is trying just too hard and he's put, the emphasis on what's important in life in the wrong areas. And if he just redirects that, he'll be the perfect father and husband. But Arnold can't carry that weight. So it falls flat. And at the end of the movie, you're still left with a fucking father and husband who just lies constantly because he can't face the truth whatsoever.
Yep.
Rita Wilson is only concerned about what he's providing. And it seems like, if you're here, what did you get me? If you're not here, why aren't you here? Why are you out getting me stuff? That's her character. The son is basically the same piece of shit as mom is, and is only concerned with either what did you buy me or are you here? And if you are here, what are you giving to me?
That's fair.
Nobody's happy in this movie. This is a terrible family that learns nothing at the end of the day.
Yes. The fact that the hidden scene is literally the wife, Liz.
And if you're willing to go through all of that for him just for a present, well, that makes me wonder, what did you get me?
What lengths did you go to get me a gift?
Yep.
And
not the fact that I saw you in a parade, dress up like Turbo Man, and put on this show for our son so he could have this amazing day.
Yes.
But by the way, when you were doing all this and presumably practicing for the show, because you know we lied about all of it. That's why all of this was all done so he could present Jamie with the Turbo Man doll and make Jamie the most specialist kid in the world. That's what he told his wife.
Yes.
And she still has the fucking gall to be like, but what'd you give me? You're not 8. I understand an 8-year-old being like that. Yeah, it's great you're here, but what'd you get me? That's an 8-year-old. That's what they're supposed to do. They're little shits.
Yeah.
Grow up, Rita Wilson's character.
But that's all I got. This movie, I tend to watch this again because it just pops up from time to time. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess it's on. I'll watch it. But I watch it in disbelief. And I watch it not because it's a good movie or because it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh for none of the reasons the writers wanted it to make me laugh.
Right.
So with that said, I watch it from time to time. It's one of those movies where I'll watch it for 10 minutes and go, I'm laughing because this is terrible. All right. And now I'm on to something else. But other than that, this is an awful movie, front to back.
Yeah, this is one of those Christmas movies that makes me really appreciate Christmas episodes of TV shows.
Yes.
Because I'd rather spend my time with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's all I got. You got anything else for this one?
No.
All right. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews. And this was 1996's Jingle All the Way.